One of the most common questions we get is, what are the costs of on-grid utilities? What's going to be my internet? What's going to be my hydro? What's going to be my electrical? What does that look like from a rental aspect, from if you're living in Belize? This video, we're going to talk about who the providers are and what the current costs are. Let's dive into it. So I figured it would be appropriate to do this video from a completed home in Mahogany Bay, because Mahogany Bay is one of the areas where everything is on the city utilities. So you don't need a solar setup. For a lot of areas of the island, you don't have that, which can be great if you want to get somewhere ahead of the curve, or if you don't have the budget to get somewhere fully on grid. But in this case, we're going to talk about on grid. So I got my notes here. You guys know I gotta get my research first, so we get you the up-to-date info. And I think let's start with the electrical. Let's start with power. So they break the rates down based on if you're a residential user, whether you're a commercial user, or whether you're an industrial user. In this instance, I would assume that almost all of our viewers are going to be residential users. So for residential rates, it depends if you're using 0 to 50 kilowatt hours, and the rate for that will be 33 cents. If you're using 51 to 200 kilowatt hours, it would be 38 cents. 201 plus would be 43 cents. And they have a minimum charge with BEL. That's the provider, Belize Electrical Limited. And they have a minimum charge of $10 for residential usage. So based on how much you're using, that's what you're gonna look at. For a typical residential home like the one I'm standing in, depending on whether you're running ACs 24/7, some people like to do that like me, or if you're someone that really enjoys kind of just being in the heat a little more, then it's gonna have a little bit of a range. But typically what I would budget is about $150 per month for your electrical bill. Can be a little more, can be less. That's gonna obviously depend, like I said, on how much usage you have. For small scale commercial usage, it would actually be the same thing as the residential. It's only when you get into the larger scale commercial usage where you're gonna find that adjusts, and it'll actually start a little higher on the base end. That's anything above 2,500 kilowatt hours per month. This might be very technical, but for all our people out there that really wanna know the details, in that case, you're gonna have a different scale. But overall, that's gonna be your base breakdown for electrical. Some people do choose to put solar panels on their property in addition to supplement what the local power grid is supplying. And that's a way you can actually save on your bill. It is a little bit of an upfront cost. We're gonna do a second utility video talking about off-grid utilities. So don't forget, guys, like, subscribe, get ready for that, because we got more information coming there. But that's also an option if you wanna supplement your bill. So stay tuned in this video, guys. At the end, I'm gonna try to give you a local US market as a comparison for reference on cost. Next up, water. How much does hydro cost? There is a connection fee of $127.50 for residential homes in San Pedro. That's for your hydro. There's also a sewer connection fee of $150. So those are your entry point fees to connect and get your home attached to the hydro and the sewer. So when you look at the cost of water and sewer, they're gonna base this based on how many gallons of usage you have, and they break it down in 1,000-gallon blocks. You'll notice at the top, for the base fee is $25.57, and it varies from there based on how many gallons of water you're using. So this is a breakdown of exactly what that cost looks like depending on your usage. Now let's talk about the internet, which for a lot of people out there, the internet might even be more important than water. I know it's crazy to say, but guys, it is 2022. We have two providers in Belize. We have Digi and we have Smart. Digi in some areas of San Pedro already has fiber optic set up and ready to install, but in a lot of areas, you're gonna get their typical plans, which aren't fiber optic. The breakdown for those would be Digi Basic, which is, say you're not someone that needs to stream, this is probably not gonna be many people. That would be 40 megabytes per second, and that is a monthly fee of $79. Digi Double would be 80 megabytes per second, and that has a monthly fee of $119 Belize. Keep in mind, all the prices in this video are in Belize dollars, guys. This is Belize. In real estate, typically things are priced out in USD, but in just about everything else in Belize, we're gonna be talking Belize dollars. Then you have Digi Triple, which is 150 megabytes per second, which is $199 per month. By comparison to Digicel, you have Smart, which is our other local provider, and they have slightly slower download speeds, so they don't have the fiber optic capacity that Digi has set up in a bunch of areas of Belize. So for perspective, for 5 megabytes per second download speed, 2.5 megabytes per second upload speed, it would be $25 Belize per month. For 10 megabytes per second download speed, 5 megabytes per second upload speed, it would be 55 Belize per month. Again, divide these by 2. For 20 megabytes per second download, 10 megabytes per second upload, it would be 80 Belize. And finally, for 32 megabytes per second and 16 megabytes per second upload, 32 megabytes download, it would be $136 Belize per month. But right now, guys, let's go back to the office and let's pull up a comparison market so you can get an idea of what these costs look like next to something in the US. So how do these costs compare to what you would expect in the US for power? Well, I just did a little bit of research for you guys, and I have some costs of some major US cities. In some cases, Belize is cheaper. In some cases, it's more expensive. And that's gonna depend on a lot of variables, but here are some of the costs that you guys could expect in major US cities for a comparison. Atlanta, 11.9 cents per kilowatt hour. You know what, maybe we should rank these in order. Let's go with Houston, 5.7 cents per kilowatt hour. Now this is all from my quick research on the internet, so these might not be exactly accurate. If you guys know of any different numbers, please get in the comment section and let me know. But Houston, 5.7 cents per kilowatt hour. Atlanta, 11.9 cents per kilowatt hour. San Pedro would be 22 cents per kilowatt hour. New York, about 24.9 cents per kilowatt hour. And Los Angeles, about 27.41 cents per kilowatt hour. So by comparison to taking a pool of a few major US cities, we're somewhat on the high end, but in the middle high end of where you would expect. That's why a lot of people do supplement with solar power. So guys, our next video, or one of our next videos, we're going to talk about using solar power and exactly what that looks like from a standpoint of being off grid. So if you haven't already, don't forget, like, subscribe, throw a comment. That video is gonna be coming up. And as always, guys, we'll see you in the next video and hopefully down here in paradise soon.